All right, everybody, welcome to the Service MVP podcast. My name is Joe Crisara, America's service sales coach, and I'm here today with Ben Davis from Express Services, who I had the opportunity to meet a few years ago. And I tell you what, this man changed my life from a standpoint of seeing somebody who's got so much heart, his family, his team, and everything he brings to the table. And I want to introduce Ben. Ben, welcome to our show here today.
Ah, thank you. Thank you. I'm
Well,
honored to be here.
Ben has a company in Idaho called Express Services. Whenever I say I give my unconditional friendship to somebody, even if they don't want it, well, Ben definitely wanted it. He definitely accepted it and has he expanded on that. So, Ben, why don't you first start by telling us a little bit about you and Express Services and how you arrived on this journey? Like you said, you like these journeys. Tell us about how that journey took you from where you were to where you are now.
Heck yeah. Uh, the journey started. I miss the journey. I miss like day one. I always think about it as like fresh out of the box. The first day that you decide to go out on your own and start your own business, and uh, it within a couple of weeks you'll get a little bit of reality check that there's no longer anybody there telling you what to do, and nobody to tell you if you're doing a good job or not. So you're kind of just on your own, but you still have that cardboard smell because you're right out of the box. Um,
A new car
it's
smell, a new car smell, you say, right? That kind of thing.
it's
Yeah.
it's fun, man. Yeah, it's super
Uh,
fun. You don't know nothing, right? And I think the coolest part about this whole trade is like you you just jump into it, and since we have survival instincts, we're going to figure things out as quick as possible and try to make a business out of what we have going. I think I hired my first employee within like 2 months of starting my business. So I had my very first one, like, oh my God.
mm-hmm.
Um, it was pretty exciting. It was really, really exciting. But you're just trying. And that's all
Yeah.
you can do. And some people can get up to like 500,000 or $1.2 million doing this. You'll talk to people all the time where they've been in the trade for 10 plus years, but they're only up to 1.2 or 1.5. And I say only kindly, because it doesn't revenue, you shouldn't be chasing that unless you have the rest of it to put in place. But um, it's exciting. It's really exciting. Some people can take it all the way up to like 15 million or 20 million and still just be off of what they feel like, and they're controlling everything, and they're part of everything that's happening in their business, and they're probably depressed. They're probably not making any money, but that's what they can do right out of the box. And
So, so,
unfortunately, I didn't have that skill.
so you would say that whenever say something, how do you build a business? You would say because you did it so quickly, not by yourself. That a real business is somebody who has other people to help you. When you hired your first employee, it's something you did right away. It wasn't something like you said, I got to wait till I know how to do this myself. You said, I'm going to hire
Right.
somebody to do it with me and not do it for me or something like that. I need somebody to the partnership with me. How important is it that people do take action on that? Because some people say like that's the reason why they are stuck at that 500,000 to a million because they don't hire the first office employer, the first. When's a good time to do that? And apparently, you would say dive right in. Go ahead and tell us more about that.
Well, I mean, it's just what are you capable of doing without any education, not knowing a single KPI, not knowing anything about operations? What can you do? And you can just motivate people with speech, and you can be a happy person, you can be an optimistic person, and then you hire your first employee, and you're like, okay, sit at this desk and do this item right here. They probably have no employee manual. They probably have no operations in front of them because you don't even know operations. So you can do it as you will. And when I talk about being fresh out of the box, it's like the trade, or at least some kind of process. Like a computer needs to be typed on, right? A program needs to be
Mm-hmm.
open. Um, but you really don't know anything more than that. And do you see these companies get up to that 4 million or $5 million mark, and they're falling apart? There's no profit there. They're stressed out of their minds, and they have maybe too many employees. Maybe they're doing 5 million and they have 80 employees, and you're like, holy moly, that's a lot of employees for $5 million.
Hmm.
So I would suggest to really just start at the beginning and try to put operations in effect as soon as possible. Because you can hire 10 employees and you can run 10 employees just off of being you. But until people actually know what the goal is, what we're trying to do, what kind of KPIs we're trying to track, um, and have a certain direction to actually go so they know if they're doing really good for you or are not doing so well, then you could scale so much more quicker with operations. So some
Hmm.
kind of process, right? So we
Got it.
got up to 5.8 million. We had no marketing budget, zero. It was so nice.
Hmm.
Um, we were paying for no coaches. We were going to no seminars. Um, we were almost all commercial. We were 80% commercial. And the thing that we had was there was 13 of us, and we were really good at doing commercial service.
Hmm.
But when the times changed and we decided to go into residential, that's where you got to get really serious on those processes and get a coach like you. I mean, how do we handle a residential customer? A commercial customer is easy,
Hmm.
lowest price wins.
Right.
Residential is a lot harder because now you're paying for those leads. You're putting money behind each lead you get. So you better do something when that lead comes through your front door. And
Well,
that's
I think that's really good advice. I think when I think I'd like to shift this to something that is in your superpower, because I know I talked to my buddy Al Levy, who was I talked last week when I was at this event with you, Al and Chloe. We were all at this event together. I talked to Al about you guys, and I talked to other people that have talked with you and done
yeah,
business.
that's
Tom Howard and people like that
oh,
know you very well too. Good mutual friends that we all have, right?
right.
But one thing I think that everybody agrees on that even though Al's got his processes of all the operation manual, I have the sales process and the in-home experience kind of a thing we're trying to provide. But one thing that both Al and I agreed on, we're like, you know what, Ben and Chloe Davis, especially Ben leading this whole thing, brings something that nobody can bring other than him, and that's what I want to talk about now. Tell us about how important it is to be able to express what's in your heart for your employees, for your clients, and for the people you serve. Because that seems like that to me is what separates you, Ben Davis, from other contractors. We could talk about the data cubes and KPIs. I don't want to go there on this one. I want to go to what your superpower is, which is sharing what's in your heart, because that's what everybody sees on social media. Every time they visit your shop, they see what's in your heart. And you're very, very good at expressing your motivations and what you see. Like you're not afraid to drop an "I love you" at any moment's notice, right? So tell us about about the how important is it for and tell us about number one. Tell us about what you want when you express to your employees and you express to your coworkers. How do you express what you want for them? Because I think that's one of the things that separates you from everybody else. Tell us a little bit more about how you express that.
Yeah, usually when I talk to people, they're like, "Hey, do you do motivational speeches or do you publicly speak?" And I'm like, "No, I would like faint if I was on a stage in front of people." Some odd reason I can do it in front of my people all the time because we're just a big family. So it's pretty easy to motivate them and um, continue to support anything that they're doing in life and make sure that you recognize those things. It's I don't know because stress can overtake a lot of things. So I do present myself as a positive person, but I can go down negative roads just like anybody else. I'm definitely not bulletproof by no means necessary. In fact, the last 12 months, I would consider most of my thoughts to be extremely negative, which was kind of driving me down, you know, uh, a road of self pity or even maybe even thinking about what death is going to be like. Because me and my wife did have had that conversation a lot, and it wasn't because I'm like perfectly healthy and thinking that I'm going to die. No, It was that I physically felt like I was going to die. It was hard to
Hmm.
breathe. It was hard to walk. My body lost 100 pounds. And I just looked in the mirror and my eyes were sunken in. And it just really made me super depressed. And then I don't know if you've ever had any major surgeries before, but I had two of them right in a row. And both of them took at least 2 to 3 months to heal. So in the
Hmm.
last 12 months, I've been healing for at least 7 months of those 12
Hmm.
months
Hmm. Hmm.
where, it's like, oh, you can't pick up more than 5 pounds and you can't do this and that. So it's been a tough road for me for the last 12 months. But I love people. I love everybody. I mean, I I don't we are like if you're alive right now, then we're sharing this journey together. Right now, physically. It's really cool. My spirit's alive. The power within me is still moving. The power within you is still moving. That's really cool. I mean, we could boost each other up. We could help each other out mentally to get through this life because this life is it's a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster. Sometimes you're up and you're winning, and then sometimes you're down and you're looking around and there's people helping you get up, which is really really cool. I want to see my everybody around me win, and that's not. I really truly want to see them win, and I know that I have to be a good employer to make sure that they win the right way. Like the last thing I want to do is be a bad employer and not be doing my homework, not be reading those operation manuals, not be practicing every day to be better, better, and better, and then expect you to be something else. I know that
Hmm.
I have to put in the work for them to succeed. And if I do that and we all win together, I mean that's pretty awesome. And that's what I have here. I mean, I know this business is not based off of me. I don't go out there and do, 100 or $200,000 in sales a day. I don't do that, but I support the people that do that every day for us. And the guys that go out there, all the install crews that run out there and they have to install this HVAC equipment, new septic systems, and new water lines and new sewer lines. And um, I'm here to support them to make sure that they
Yeah.
have everything so they can be successful.
I
And
think that's what says it all right there, Ben, is that I think that's what people are so impressed about is that you don't look at being the owner as an egotistical, hey, don't they know who I am kind of a thing. You're like what you're thinking is, man, what can I do to help people achieve their dream in my business? And it's like I think that's what I sense is in your heart. Every day is like, and even when somebody's falling short, you don't get down on them. You still are an optimist. You say, hey, I know you can do better than this. I believe in you, and I see. I think sometimes your superpower is to believe in people when they don't exactly believe in themselves. And I
oh
think,
yeah,
by the way, you kind of giving yourself that own medicine too, right? That you say, hey, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do it for other people, but I'm also going to I'm going to take the advice I give other people when they're down, right? And
yeah.
it's a unique situation you're involved with there, right? Uh, Tell me about the journey in terms of if you had to say what's in your heart, if you had to say, for contractors or people out there who are grinding it out day to day, just barely keeping them. It's a day-to-day struggle. Even when things are going good, it's like, what's going to take my money? Like, is it the government? Is it
Right,
going to be
yeah.
an accident? What's going to be the thing that's
Oh
going to
man.
take our resources today? What's the so how do you fend up that? There's two things I noticed. One is that you're all heart and really good at telling people what you want for them. Another thing is a reality-based person that says, okay, we need to start moving action, guys. I don't see what the action step is going to be here. How do you balance those two things? The ability to be an effective production to get production from people, which is something that you're saying we need to take action to get production on this idea, not just talk about the idea. And then there's the other thing where you allow people to dream and you support that dream too. What do you turn one thing on and one thing off? How do you do that?
Well, you always allow people to dream and you always support people. I mean, there's times that you might lose $1 million in 6 months. I mean, it's just the fact of life, especially with how everything's moving right now. We got all the PE companies moving in. You can misstep. I mean, if you're doing like 1.5 or $1 million a month, you're doing $1 million a month. It's easy to lose 200,000. If you're doing $200,000 a month, you can lose 20,000. See, that's not that big of a deal. But when you lose 200,000, it starts to add up really, really, really quick.
Hmm.
So you can allow that to affect everything else. But or you got to remember though, if you're going to dig out of this, if you're going to dig out of it, it's going to be your people helping you with shovels dig out of it. So, so the last thing you want to do is mess with that, right? To take these losses and then to attack anybody around you. That's what you really try to avoid. I mean, it's not, we're not always successful at this by no means, but take the losses and then look at your people and say, hey, grab a shovel because we got to start digging right now.
And you start getting that, you kind of enroll their assistants. And what I've noticed is that people, because of the groundwork you've laid down in that support mechanism, when you do that unconditional support for people's dreams, it seems like they more than willing to grab that shovel and work with you. Because I know a lot of times I work at companies where it's like, hey, if I grab the shovel, how much money am I going to make for grabbing for grabbing that
Yeah,
shovel?
I've been there, done
You know what I'm
that.
saying?
Yeah,
Or it's like sometimes like that,
yeah,
but with everybody that not just employees. I'm saying other people like me and other professionals
yeah,
who
absolutely.
seem like
Mentors.
it's like they're attracted to help you because they see you're willing to help. You're saying I think it starts with you grabbing the shovel first. What would you
Oh,
give us a little commentary on that? Go ahead.
100%. I mean, and you nailed it right there, right? I mean, Eve, there's mentors out there that grab a shovel with us, which is just super cool. You're one of them. I mean,
Hmm.
you've always been one of them. I'm like, Joe, come on. And all of a sudden, Joe's in and he has a shovel in his hand and we're pushing dirt to get out of this jam. It's it's really nice, man. It really brings tears to my eyes most of the time when I talk about it. It's I was just at Tommy Mel's event and I felt like he was grabbing a shovel. I mean, the stuff that he taught us at that event, well, I felt was higher level stuff because
Hmm.
it's really about working on your body and your mind and your spirit and then work on what else you need to work on and always self-reflect. Am I reading those manuals? You know, am
Hmm.
I doing the things that I'm asking the people to do? I always feel guilty is if the path isn't clear for everybody, then what's my expectations? So when I talk to even contractors at like the event we just left, Freedom, Home Service Freedom, when I talk to contractors there and they're like $5 million and they're just running for it and they're like, I need more leads, I need more leads. And I'm like, what about process? you know, hey, Joe, come on over here. What are you guys doing as far as your sales go? I mean, why are you eating up so many leads? You have 40 leads a day or whatever you're getting. Why are you eating those up so quick when you could capitalize off of those and provide a better service? Like you think that it's more and more and more, and you think that when I get to 10 million or get to 50 million or get to 20 million, that's when life will change. And you're completely wrong. It changes right now when
I
you
think
put those pieces in place.
yeah, I think that's what a misconception. I think what you're bringing to light here, Brent, is really a is clearing up a misconception for all those contractors who are from that, 500,000 to even five up to 5 million, let's say. It's like like it seems like whenever they get to a level like 1 million, and then they get to 3 million, and they get to 5 million, because they're always working on the next level, it seems like there's always the struggle either to keep what you have or to grow what you have, right?
Yeah,
Can you express to people for them or like let everybody know that it's okay if it seems like even when you're successful, like from the outside, people would say, look at this guy, he's $100 million company. But I happen to know those people, and I know even those people are like it's a day-to-day struggle to keep what they have or not lose what they have. And then there's also say,
absolutely.
I want to grow what I have. That's another. So express to people that because I think some people have the misconception that once you get to a level like 5 million, it's like, hey, I can sit back and take it easy now.
no, no,
Tell us about that a
no.
little bit about tell us about the day-to-day grind and the struggle that no matter what level you get, that there's the effort never has to stop. Go ahead, tell us about that a little bit.
Right. Well, uh, so we can get into a mindset of chasing revenue, which revenue to me is vanity. It really is. And I really had to break that from even my management team where Oh, we didn't have a $300,000 a week, oh, we failed. And then we started looking into it, and it's like, well, did you know that Thursday has 80 hours of overtime and Friday has 160 hours overtime? So while you're trying to chase that revenue, you're actually killing it. You're crushing it towards the end of the week because you're throwing all of our manpower at it just to close it out on a Friday versus a Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So it just stop chasing revenue as a whole. Revenue doesn't, I don't care if you're 3 million, 2 million, a million. Stop chasing revenue. I need to look at my profit and loss. I need to get the percentages correct within that profit and loss. You need to get probably a coach. You need to get out there and figure out what that's going to be. What do I want my field labor to be? What am I driving for? Like I drive for 20% in field labor, right? I mean, I think it's pretty much an industry standard. I think we should be trying to drive for that or less. But those are the numbers that are key. So I need to work on my profit and loss. I need to work on a budgeted, forecasted budget, and I need to start sticking with that. And that's going to help me grow because I can build the bottom line. But these guys, they get all the way up to 6 million, 9 million, 10 million, and it's a wreck. And I was there. You've seen it.
All right, I've seen
Which
it.
is,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, you showed up during the whole thing. I mean, my life really didn't change until 2020, really, when all this chaos happened,
Mm-hmm.
and we had to
Yeah,
start changing directions.
I remember I drove up there in the spring of 2020, I drove up through Western Nevada, which was a scary drive of its own. Like, wow, it's spooky. There's everything's closed because of the pandemic, and it's like it's already isolated area, and it's like everything's a ghost town within the ghost town, right? So it's interesting.
Yeah,
But I think that's what you still had the foresight to, hey, we have an opportunity here, while other people are saying let's shut things down. You're like, no, we're going to open this up and be available to our community, right?
yeah,
To me, I think I see Ben Davis, I see a series of self-sacrifice so that other people can achieve, both employees, the community, and even the people you work with, like me. So tell us a little bit about what's in your heart what's happened to you in your past or whatever that gives you so much generosity to other people. Tell us a little bit about that.
I don't know. I mean, I think we all have a story. Like we all grew up with something, whether we were in like a super religious family or we were rich or poor. I mean, we all had a story. And I think it's just how we overcome that story.
Hmm.
And we have to we have to realize that we're all just people. We're just people. So we should support each other and keep bad people away. Don't get me wrong.
Hmm.
Don't let them in your life, man. I
Hmm.
mean, I tell you like anybody anytime, like you bring 1 ounce of drama, I'm probably not going to call you and I'm going to
Hmm.
run. Keep the good ones in your life and then just support the heck out of them. Just push them forward like you've never done before. Why not? Like when we pass, we want to be remembered as a good person. We want to be remembered as somebody that hopefully changed somebody's life. When we teach plumbers how to plumb, when we take a 22-year-old and we take them through our program and we launch them out in the field, I mean, they get their little certificate and they're so excited. And it's so awesome to watch them go out there and be successful, drive forward within a career. Whether they work for me for 20 years or not, even if they do leave me, I see them go to other companies and I'm like, that's really cool. They're still going forward within the career that we helped create. So just get satisfaction. I think there's a reason why people are teachers. I just,
Hmm.
I feel like it's fulfilling. I feel like um, it brings you, you know, to another level. I mean, you can have all the money, you can buy all the toys. I had a garage full of dead batteries at one point in time too.
Hmm.
More stuff than I could drive.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's not about that.
Yeah, I think one thing is like you also have no shame and when you do have resources, you have no shame in having fun like a little kid. So like at five, like, hey, let's get a balloon, or hey,
Yeah.
let's get in my car and do burnouts on the road. And
Yeah.
Joe, get in there and do it with me. You had Tom Howard, which is he's about as unlikely of a person who would get in a car and just do burnout like you
Yeah.
did, and
Yeah. Tom
myself
Howard
too. It's like
did.
it's
Yeah.
funny you take these people like me and Tom, put us in a situation. It's like, Tom, let's do a burnout, or Joe, go, dude. And I do it, and you say, that's the Joe Crisara I wanted to see.
Yeah.
The real Joe Crisara, who's having fun like a child, right?
It's really
Tell us about
cool.
tell about that part of it. Tell us about how having fun, and when you run this kind of a business, there's so many negative things, the KPIs, the numbers, chasing. You said chasing that revenue, or if you're just saying that advice not to chase it, but it's still there. The fact we got to make payroll every week makes us chase the revenue is
Yeah.
a factor. Tell us how we say when you do have the resources. Tell us about your advice about having fun with those resources, as opposed to just putting them in a bank and hiding them forever, and they just there's no inspiration to that. Tell us more about that, because that seems like that childlike enthusiasm that makes that. That's why I think I love you so much. It's like, dude, this guy's like a 5-year old in an adult body, and he just wants to get out there and have fun with shit. And now he's got the resources. Like he's like a 5-year old with actual resources to have a credit card.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's giving you
Uh,
like you with like a 5-year old with a credit card. Is the best way to put it. Tell
I
us about that.
know.
Go ahead, Ben.
Well, I think they took away the credit card. I think the credit
Oh,
card's
good. That's probably
gone.
better.
Yeah.
That's probably a better financial move.
Yeah, yeah. They have stripped me from all access. So
That's good. Yeah,
um
it's probably better.
uh I don't know. So we got involved with like hot air balloons like 5 years ago, and we sponsored that event, and we would hang our banner on one of the balloons and go to the park, and we'd have some customers take a ride, or we would set up a balloon and they would do tethered rides all day long, which is really cool.
Uh-huh.
So you have like a line of 200 people, and they put their kids in the balloon, and you take the balloon up like 200-300 feet, and then you bring it back
Uh-huh.
down, and you just do that all day long. And the
Nice.
smiles that you see on people's faces is just like unreal. I mean, it's just the kids just like their eyes are so big because the balloon is so big.
Yeah.
And I mean, even like taking you in the Camaro and doing a burnout, we cooked off a whole set of tires. And so I drove it the next day, and there was like these ribbons coming out of the tires that were slapping the
Oh
fender
hell.
wells. Um, but why not? I mean, it's an LZ1 Camaro with 700 horsepower. Let's go see what it's got. I mean, we're not going to put it in the garage, right? I mean, we
Uh-huh.
have to go out there and see what it's got. I put Tom Howard behind the wheel, and I just loved it. I loved looking at it. I love his facial expressions as he was going through the gears. I mean, it was super fun. One time I got out and I'm like, okay, Tom, do a burnout. And anyway, it was just
It is.
it's fun to see that because we live
Yeah,
this life of work.
yeah, you put that. I think you like to see what's the real person inside that person, and putting him in situations to see what they're really made of and what they really have, and so, the joy. Try to bring out that element of joy in people. That's the thing that I think is the Ben Davis difference. If I said his
Yeah.
legacy, if I had to, I hope you outlive me, which I think you probably
uh,
will. But I hope
I
you
don't
do.
know.
I wish that for you and your family, because you've done so much for the industry. But if you did, I know if I had to give a speech about you, it would be about the man who makes us all remember our inner child. And it's like it's nice to come over and just play with Ben today. Can Ben come out and play?
Right.
That's what
Yeah.
I get from it. That's my summary of you as a person, and that's really great. Ben, any final thoughts that you want in your heart for contractors? We're going to wrap this up right now, and it's been a great interview. I want to say thank you for being here,
Oh,
and thanks
thanks.
for all you've done for Service MVP, and also for your family and all the people that I know in your company and your
Yeah.
community in Napa, Idaho, for sure.
Yeah.
But tell us a little bit about what's in your heart for contractors. What do you think? If you had to give contractors some final pieces of advice, obviously they don't chase the revenue part of it. Obviously to have fun with that revenue when you got
Yep.
some, have some fun with it. What else? Tell us anything you want to tell them right now. What do you think?
Um, there's a lot of advice being a really good friend of mine always tells me you got too much information.
Uh-huh.
Like I got too much, I traveled way too much. I received way too much. And that was Al. He's like, man, you got too much in your head. um and it's like contractor fog. So
Hmm.
if we're listening to podcasts all day long and we're traveling all day long and we're doing this and we're visiting shops and we're just getting all these crazy ideas and they're just shooting in and shooting out. And I don't know if it was Al or Ellen, but it was like we're getting whiplash. We're just, or it could have been actually you,
Hmm.
but literally we're giving our employees whiplash. So I would suggest just to slow it down. I mean, take information if you want, but when they say pay more, pay more, pay more, don't necessarily pay more. Change the way that you do that process so they can make more. Make them capable of making more. Don't necessarily pay more, but give
Hmm.
them the opportunity to make more. So don't go crazy with your numbers, thinking that you have to pay somebody $80,000 a year or $90,000 a year just to keep them, but give them the opportunity, like joining Service MVP, so they can get up to that number, and then you can be more proud of what you have created. Also, dig into your P&L, create a forecasted budget as soon as possible, and create a great sales process. I mean, with Joe's help, we have three system advisors that are super successful right now, and I would put them against almost any service MVP guy out there. I mean, I think we're within the top 80%. So I know there's guys that are
Nice.
better at us, but I put some of my guys. We should have a competition. You should set up a competition one of these days, Joe. Just the
Okay.
best service MVP people ever get together and you judge it.
Winner gets a week. Winner gets a week in Nampa, Idaho, with Ben and his Camaro and his
No,
balloon.
no.
Come on, no,
I don't have the
we gotta do
Camaro
it.
anymore.
I'll get the. Ben dreamed about us having a service MVP van, so I'm gonna get.
Yeah,
I'll have the service. I'll pick up the service MVP van. We'll pick you up, drive you to Nampa,
right.
and you get to go in the balloon, and you get to go in the
Oh, no.
Camaro, and
We got
we'll
to
have a
set
pizza
up.
together, play some pool, have some fun,
Got to put them in
because
a
that's
cage.
really that's really it. What I get from you, Ben, is that the advice I would say that if I had to interpret for you is to live your life. Don't be a
Yeah,
passenger in this life. Get in the drive, pick up, get in the driver's seat every now and then. It's fine. It's fun to be the passenger, but it's also fun to kind of drive your life, and especially with the fun. I don't think anybody's just going to put you in the passenger seat. Take action to have some fun with these
yeah,
resources that you've accomplished, because that's really what life is all about.
yeah.
Nobody's
Give
gonna.
yourself a pat on the back.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna remember, like, if I'm of all things, what would say, what would you remember about the visit to Express, the two visits you made there? I say I remember going to that Camaro for sure, and I remember that pizza party and that pool
Yeah.
night where
Oh, that was fun.
we shot pool and things like that, and Ben put in
Yeah.
some money to say who gets the winner, and those are the kinds of things those are the kinds of things I remember. Ben, thank
Yeah.
you so much for being an inspirational figure for other people, and definitely. Ben is also a firm believer in Service Titan and people like Tom Howard. He has a
Yeah.
lot of great mentors and things like that. So Ben definitely has an open heart. So Ben, thanks so much for being on this podcast. I really
Yeah.
appreciate everything you do for everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, dial it in, right? Sign up for Service MVP. Get all those things in place, get good operations going. Um, Al with Seven Power Contractors got that. Like you said, Service Titan's absolutely amazing, always supporting the trades. Um, but um, just love life, man. Just love it. So I'm out.
Thanks, buddy. Have a great have a great one. Thanks a lot. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.